Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and we're looking at a puzzle by Marty Sears today. Now, I don't know how often I get to do puzzles by Marty Sears. Normally Simon's taking them, but I get to do this one today. Looking forward to it as well. It's a 6x6 using the digits 1 to 6. Last time I thought, oh, you know, easy time on a 6x6. It could use the digits from 1 to 9. This doesn't use them in the puzzle, but actually it does theoretically use them. So I'll go through the rules in a moment. They're really fascinating. It's a form of X products, which we don't see much of. I'm looking forward to trying it. Now, don't forget, loads of things to catch up on the channel. So Patreon runs, every month we run a competition from the 1st to the 20th. And April's is themed on some villains. Do check it out. It's great fun. You have to work your way through to the final puzzle, work out how to find that and then nail it, and basically you save the world from domination, I think. So give it a try. It'll be useful. And always loads of other content on Patreon as well, other videos and so forth. Do check it out. We've also, of course, got our merchandise and Sven Sudoku pad. We've got a link to the books if you want to order one of those. I think that can all be done on the links under the video. And, of course, all our apps can be purchased as well. We do have some genuinely approachable Sudoku in the apps, and we have various others. Line Sudoku is our latest and great fun. And Marty is going to contribute to our next one. So let's have a look at his puzzle today, which is called the X Factors. So the rules are these. Fill the digits with the grids, fill the grid with the digits 1 to 6. So we have each of 1 to 6 in every row, every column, and every marked region. The orange clues are X products. They give the product of the first X digits in the indicated direction, where X is the first digit seen in that direction. So I'm going to look at this one. If that was a 2, a 3, and a 4, then, no, let's not do that. Let's do a 2, a 6, and a 4. I'm going mad. Okay, let's do that. A 3, a 2, and a 4. Then we're multiplying the first 3 digits together, which I think gives a total of 24. And that is represented by question marks. 2 question marks, because it's a 2-digit number. Each question mark represents a digit of the clue. These may be any digit from 0 to 9, but there are no leading zeros. So only the first digit, the first question mark in one of those can't be 0. All clues must be determined by the solver. And also, every digit represented by a question mark indicates exactly how many times that digit is being represented by a question mark in the puzzle. For example, if a clue contains a 5, then exactly 5 of the question marks are a 5. Well, that is weird. Okay, and pencil marks may be entered into the clue cells. That's just to aid memoiris here, for instance. Okay. What a fascinating idea for a 6x6 puzzle. No idea how this is going to play out, but give it a try on the first link under the video. You may be able to judge from the video length how hard future me found it in past you. I'm going to start now. Let's get... Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button there. Nearly stopped the recording. Let's get cracking. There we go. So, we've got a 3-digit number for this thing. Well, it's not multiplying 2 digits together, and it can't go past 4. Can you get there in 3? Well, you could have 3 times 6 times 6. Is that 108? 36 times 3 is... It is 108. Now, what would... Oh, no, I mean, this is nonsense. Okay. I've got all kinds of issues with that in terms of the last rule about the question marks acting a bit like counting circles. If this number was 108, and I think that's the only way to get a 3-digit number. If you did 3 times 5 times 6, it's 90. So if this went 366, if it was 108, that would imply that there was 1 1 in all the question marks and you'd just used it. That there were no zeros in all the question marks, because that's what 0 means. But you'd have used 1, so that's broken. It would also imply that there were 8 8s in the question marks, which seems a little implausible. Oh, what I should have done. Anyway, we know that's not a 3, we know that's a 4 now, and it's multiplying all of those digits. The trouble is, if you start putting a couple of 6s in, you're already over the number, whatever you put in there, so I don't really know what to do with that. But now I am finally going to think about the counting circles aspects of these question marks and count up how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 16 question marks. So just like in a counting circles puzzle, we're going to have to find a combination of digits that adds up to 16. What I'm immediately thinking is there's a good chance that these question marks contain 1 1, 2 2s, 3 3s, 4 4s, and 6 6s. And because that adds up to 16, and it keeps all those numbers fairly low, that's quite a plausible way of doing it. And I achieve that by knowing that 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 6 equals 16. Now, the interesting thing is, at least one of these digits that's in the question marks is at least as high as 6. And therefore, if there weren't 6 6s, then there would be 7 7s, or 8 8s, or 9 9s. All of those seem incredibly unlikely. Well, 7s and 9s seem ridiculously unlikely because they could never be, well, a 7 could never be a single digit clue because the numbers would have to be 1 and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are only 6 clues. You could find a way to put a 7 in, and I bet you couldn't anyway. So 7 is not the big number. I'm reluctant to think there are 2 big numbers in those clues, but let's try and rule out 9, which is also odd. Now, the only way you're going to make a single digit clue have a 9 in is by being 2 3s. Or no, 3 1 3. You'd have to begin with a 3 as the x, multiply by 1 and 3 to get to the number. You can't do it going across there. You could do it going down here. 3 1 3 would give you a 9 there. Here, I suppose you could do it again, 3 1 3. But you'd still need 7 more 9s in these clues. And the double-digit clues, they're just not going to begin with 90-something. And I don't think there's many that are going to end in a product, a composite number that ends in a 9. 19 and 29 are no good. 39 is no good because 13 is a factor. 49 is no good because even 7 is too big and is its only factor. 59's out. 69 has 23 as a factor. 79 and 89 are primes, I think. And 99 has 11. No, I mean, you're just not going to get 9s in. So the big digit is either 6 or 8. It could theoretically be both, but I think that's ludicrous. Let's just think about 8 as a single digit clue. If you had 2 and then 4, you could have 8 as a single digit clue. That's the only way to do it. I suppose 4 1 2 1. I mean, it's not going to happen anywhere. Realistically. Can we rule out 8? 18 is a plausible number, but you can only use 1 1. 28 is possible. 48 is very high. I think it's incredibly unlikely that 8 is being used in the question marks in this puzzle, and therefore I think we are down to 6 as the high digit, and then the ones adding up to 10 that are below that must... No, they don't have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. They could be 2, 3, 5 or 1, 4, 5. But still, I think it's very likely there are 6 6s. I'm going to try and come at the puzzle from another angle, and just because it's hard to prove that ultimately. Now, this cell on this diagonal can't be doing more than 2 or 3. We can't have a 1 with a 2-digit clue. So that is 2 or 3. This one must be 2, 3 or 4. Similar reasons on a 2-digit clue. This one, 2 or 3 again, I'm going to say for the 2-digit clue looking that way. Oh, if that was a 2, this is going to have to be a 6. Because that way we get 2 cells to have a product of 12. You've got to go above 10 because you mustn't use a 0. That would then use the 1, 1 we were allowed by the 1 existing and one of the 2 2s. And in fact, this would have to be 2, 3. Oh, I mean, it's madness to think that that could be a 2. It just doesn't seem likely when you consider all 3 of these. But we're not dealing in likely, we're dealing in fact here. Now, this could be a 1. Although, again, that would use up the 1, 1 straight away, which is unlikely. Now, we're not allowed a 4 in this row anymore. If we had a 5, we'd be multiplying all of those. Oh, and 5 would be one of them, and you'd have at least 1 and 2 here. You'd get up above a single digit. Okay. It's not 5, it's not 6 for the same reason. So that's 1, 2, or 3. I'm very skeptical about it being 1. Now, I'm going to think about this again. If that's a 2, that has to be a 6. Now, at that point, this has to be a 1. And then we've used 2 1s. We've used 1 in this 12 clue here, 2, 6, and 1 in the 1 clue that results here from a 1. So that's no good. So that's not a 2. Right, we've proved that. That's a 3. This now is a 1 or a 2. If it's a 1, we're using the only 1 we're allowed to have in the question marks. Right, and I'm going to put in some markings here using the pen tool. So we've got 1 line there that's giving a single digit. We've got another line here that's giving a single digit. That's quite weird. We've got 1 line here that's giving a double digit. Now that's much more manageable. This is anything from 1, 2, 3, 5, even 6. So I don't know about that digit. Let's look at this row. What's 3 going to multiply by to give a single digit answer? One of them must be a 1. We can't even put 2 and 4 in here. So one of them is a 1. And the other one, if it's not a 2, it would have to be a 4. And that would be too big. So that is a 1-2 pair. This digit has now become a 4. That's got to be worth a few lines over this side. So we'll have, oh no, just 1 line that teaches us. And these digits are a 5 and a 6 by Sudoku. Imagine getting to do some Sudoku in my Sudoku puzzle eventually. Now, this has been 6, so that is a 6. And now we know there are 6 6s for definite in the arrow, in the question marks. This 6, no, this isn't necessarily a 6. Although it's possibly a 6. It is a single digit, so one of these is a 1. They couldn't even both be 2s. And the other one could be a 3, except that would give us 9s in the question marks. And we've ruled that out. So this is either a 1-1 pair, but that would make both of those 2s, or it's a 1-2 pair, and it is therefore a 1-2 pair, same as that. So we're getting a lot of the positions for 1 and 2. I've only just remembered that we've got the law of leftovers. Those 2 digits have to be the same, because if you compare that column, which has the digits 1 to 6, with that shape, which has the digits 1 to 6, those 2 are the complements to each set. That digit is the same as that. I haven't even thought about this at all, but that's 5 or 6 up there, therefore. One of those two is a 4 on the same principle, or you could now just do that by looking at that column. That is clearly the yellow 1 or 2. That's just Sudoku. So this is also a 6 now, that clue, because we know it's going to be a 1-2 pair here. This one, well, we've got more 6s to place in these corners. This could be a 2 and a 3 would give us a 6 there as well. I think it's going to be difficult to get numbers with 6s because we need 4 more 6s. What about this? 3 times 4 times 3 would be 36. Do I have to do these 4 product numbers now? I'm really quite reluctant. Oh, I've had a 5-6 pair in this box. So the other digits are 1, 2, 3 or 4. So we are a bit, I mean, there are still 16 possible combinations here. And although some of those might be ruled out as 3-digit numbers, I'm reluctant to go down that path at the moment. Now, how about up here or down here? Can this really be a 2? It would sort out all the 1-2 pairs. But if that was a 2, I'm going to say it can't be, because there would be a 1 on this first question mark. And what would happen with 2s and 1s? That would be a 1, that would be a 1, that would be a 1, and then there'd be a 1 on this question mark as well. So that won't work. So that's a 3. And now I can draw one more line in there. We're multiplying those. Oh, in fact, I can draw yet another line in as well. I'm stuck for a colour. Let's use grey. There we go. So 3 times 5. Now, that's not going to happen. This is not going to be a 5. Because the product I would end up with, if that was a 5, would have to end in 5 or 0. Now, I haven't explicitly ruled out to this point that we could have 5 5s in the question marks. But I think it's extremely unlikely, and I'd like to show you why now. Oh, hang on. Let's rule. Okay, what I'm going to do first is rule it out on this 4, the 3-digit thing, the 3-digit product sum. Because if that was a 5, we've got an even digit on this, and it would end in 0. And we're not allowed to have a 0, so that's not 5. That's 6. That's 5. That's 6. These are from 1 to 5. I mean, we're getting quite close now. I mean, I was going to go through how we can't get enough 5s on the question marks, but hopefully I can leave that a bit moot for now. 3 times 6 times 1 would be 18, but we're not allowed an 8, so that's out. 3 times 6 times 3 would be 54, but that would give us a 5 and a 4. The question marks would then have to be 6, 5, 4, 1. And actually, what would we get on this diagonal? Let's not be afraid of multiplying 96 by 3 to give us 288, which uses 8s and is no good. That is not a 4. 3 times 3 times 6 is 36. Now that's a plausible number. 3 times 6 times 2 is 18. That uses an 8. We've ruled... No, it's not. I've got those both wrong. 3 times 6 times 2 is 36. That is a plausible number. 3 times 6 times 3 is 54. And that uses a 5. Let's do it from the other side. 4 times 6 times 3 is 72. Times 2 is 144. Or times 3 is 216. 72 times 3 is 216. Now, that's really interesting. Whichever one of those we're doing on this 4 uses the 1, 1 we can be allowed. It's either 216 or it's 144. Now, I don't know the answer yet, but I do know that this is using the 1, 1 that we're allowed. Actually, I should put it as central. And that means this can't be a 1. And that means this can't be a 1, and this is a 2, and that gets us the yellow cells. This one's a 1, that one's a 1, that's not a 1. Okay, those can't be 2s, that's a 1-3 pair. By Sudoku, this is a 2, and this digit now is 144. 12 times 12, yes. I don't quite know how to show that. I'm going to put it like that. We've used the 1 and 2 4s. Here, we've got to have 2 times 6. 2 times 5 only gives us a 10, which has got a 1 in. Hang on, this doesn't work. 2 times 6 gives us another 1 up there. Ah, that's no good. Wow, I've done something wrong on the big multiplication then. Let's go back to that. Let's go back to where we first started filling it in. Something has gone wrong in the state of Denmark. Now that can't be a 5. That's got to be right. That would put a 6. That would put a 0 in the number, and that can't be allowed. This we worked out couldn't be a 2, because it would make it 12 and it would make that one 1. And that's definitely right. Maybe I did the maths wrong here. 18 times 4 is 72. So for the 4-digit one, that has to be more than a 1. That's a 5 by Sudoku in the row. So we've got either 144, 288, and I do not want to use 8s. We can't use 8s. All of these would have to be 68 or 86, or at least some of them would, and those are just not plausible totals. So that is not 288, that's not a 4. So I'm sure it's either 144, which is relatively plausible with a 2 there, or it's 216, and both of those use a 1. But if I put a 2 or a 1 there, I'm going to end up with a 1 in this cell. No, I'm not. It's a single-digit cell. For some reason, I thought that was a 2-digit cell. Okay, all my earlier deductions, excuse me a moment. Okay, I was just saying, all my earlier deductions are fine. I just got thrown by thinking that was a 2-digit clue for a second, for some mad reason. Now, let's do it again. So, sorry to make you go through the maths again. 72 times 72 times 3 gives this 216, which uses a 1. Which makes that a 2. Yeah, either of the versions use a 1 there and make that a 2. So that is a 2, and we're multiplying by something to give a single-digit number, and that's fine. That is perfectly legal. Let's do the rest by Sudoku up here, as I was doing before. Now we know, again, this is 144. Okay, that is right. And we've used the 1, 1, we've used 2 4s. Here, what are we getting? We're multiplying 2 digits to give a single-digit number, so we must put 3 there by Sudoku, basically. And we get 6 on that thing. So we can put 6 up there. So we get a third of our 6s. A third digit, not 1/3. That's a naked 5. That's a 3. The more I can do of this by Sudoku, the happier I'll be, and then do the maths at the end. That's a naked 1. That's the sort of thing I like. We've got a 4-6 pair there. That's become a 3. That's a 1. This is a 2-5 pair. These are from, well, that's got to be 3 actually. So now I can just multiply this together, and I know what the answer is here. It's 36. Good number. Uses the first 3 that we've seen and the 4th 6 from our allotment. This number cannot have a 5 here, because then we would get a 5. We've definitely run out of places for 5s. So this gets a 2 here. In fact, we know we're using 1, 3, 4, and 6. So the other number we're using is 2. It's definitely not a 5. So that's a 2. Now, we've either got 6 times 4 equals 24, or 6 times 6 equals 36. Ooh, let's not decide that yet. Here we've got 36. So we've used 5 6s and 2 3s. Here, we must be able to just multiply that into 36 again. That's the third 3 and the 6th 6. We've used all the 3s and 6s. Everything else we're using is 2 and 4 from this point. So this one is very happily now 24 with a 4 there. And I bet this one is 24 as well. That is 4 times 1 times 2 times 3. It is 24. That accounts for all our numbers. That is saying 144, just in case you were wondering. And now we can just fill in the rest. And no. I can't, sorry, the use of these perimeter cells has thrown me a bit there. And that is the puzzle. Very nice work, Marty. And sorry I botched it a bit in the middle by panicking over what was going on here. Do we get a tick mark on this? It says, no, that's not the solution. It doesn't want me to enter 6s here. Okay, maybe if I enter them as small numbers, it says I have solved the puzzle then. There we go. That's probably the better way to do it. But that is brilliant. What a fabulous puzzle. What a weird little vignette, but most enjoyable. Thank you for following along with me. Sorry about the panic in the middle when I thought that I needed somehow a 2-digit number from there for a bit. But it worked fine, and that was good fun. See you again next time on the channel. Bye for now.